Nice cold beverage on a beautiful, somewhat summer-like day. 75 degrees, beautiful outside on this Friday. I'm recording this on Friday. You guys are going to be getting this, of course, on a Saturday afternoon. 75 degrees, it's Friday, May 15th, 2020. I'm sitting here in the doldrums of my office right before SmackDown. Oh, joy, I can't wait. Contemplating what I'm going to talk about. Had lunch, walked to my favorite beer garden. Nice junior cheeseburger, lettuce, tomato, fries, ketchup, the works. Nice brisk walk. Breeze blowing in my face. It looks good outside. It feels good outside. I had myself a nice cold beer. Victory Summer Love on the way back home. And I'm thinking about what I'm going to talk about on the show today. And I knew what I wanted to talk about, but I just didn't know how to attack it because I've ranted and I've raved and I've complained and I've given all of the opinion that I could on today's topic, and that is the 2020 version of WWE's Wild Card Rule. Now, it is a stripped-down, very vanilla, bare-bones Wild Card Rule. But it's a wild card rule that is absolutely unnecessary on both Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. WWE is not calling it the wild card rule. They are naming it this year the brand-to-brand invitation. We got invitations from Raw superstars being sent to SmackDown superstars to come on over and vice versa. It is fucking ridiculous. It sounds so cheesy. It sounds so lame. It reeks of uncreativity, and it absolutely reeks of desperation because these people are so fucking stupid that they don't know how to write a 2-hour wrestling program without dipping into the talent pool on the other show and vice versa. Yet there are people in the community that still put faith in these people to do anything the right way. What exactly are you excited about? What exactly comes out of this outside of the desperation and the uncreativity? Nothing. Nothing. You're just as bad as the WWE people. You're just as bad as the people writing this fucking garbage on Monday and Friday night. What exactly are you doing? You're taking guys from one show, putting them on another show. More than likely, you're pissing off network executives. Network executives, by the way, don't know anything about what WWE needs. Yet WWE listens to them because they have all the power in the stroke of a fucking paycheck. What good does it do for me and you and everybody else to see Baron Corbin on Friday and then again on Monday? Is that what you want? Is this what you want? Baron Corbin shitting up the ratings on fucking Monday Night Raw. Is this what you want? EC3 standing next to designer coats. Is this what you want? That is something I would actually be welcome to. Baron Corbin? I take the mannequin wearing the fucking EC3 jacket over Baron Corbin on any given day in the ring. I don't know how many times I could complain about this, man. It's like 98% of the community don't have a fucking brain. You're operating off of Charlotte's fucking 50% drained battery. Most of you. What good does this do? It does no good. No good. We had to see Kofi Kingston, the SmackDown champion, show up on Raw in matches with Seth Rollins. My goodness, man, how fucking stupid can you be? Wasn't that the whole premise of the Survivor Series? I mean, are you mental? Yeah, we're just going to give it away on Monday Night Raw. And we're going to ruin the concept of Survivor Series while we're at it. That's why WWE had to go to the NXT route, not only because they are fucking dancing. AEW's got them dancing on strings with the way WWE goes about every move they make, everything that they do, every breath they take. They try to counter AEW in some way. That's why they added NXT to the Survivor Series this year. Not only for the AEW effect, but they seamlessly ruined whatever. Without any care in the world, they ruined the Survivor Series concept because of what they did with the wild card rule earlier in the year. Then, WWE is ushering off Roman Reigns to SmackDown, and then we got to see Roman Reigns on Raw. Then we got to see Charlotte Flair on SmackDown, and then we got to see her on Monday Night Raw. AJ Styles shows up with the club. Wasn't it 4 in any given rotation showing up on shows? WWE threw that out the window. They threw that out the window. You got 3 superstars in the New Day showing up on Monday Night Raw to do God knows what against the Revival. And then they continue to usher out 9 more superstars. By the end of the night, the 4 rule went right out the window, and we'd end up with fucking 17 superstars. As if there's no brand split whatsoever. And I don't even want to begin about what that meant for the lower card guys. Because you promised a brand split. You promised opportunity. And what did WWE do? They lied. They lied. None of those people, none of those superstars got any opportunity whatsoever because you needed Roman Reigns on both Monday and Tuesday. You needed AJ Styles and Seth Rollins on both Monday and Tuesday. Fuck an Apollo Crews. Fuck a Sami Zayn or a Shinsuke Nakamura or anybody else that WWE deems, they're not so special, they're unimportant. This is an absolute fucking mistake. And they're only looking at it again this year, and they're looking at their mistake and just waiting for it to happen all over again without a fucking care in the world. And if they do know, then they refuse to do anything about it because they think that they are right 100% of the time. That nothing could go wrong. Meanwhile, all you have to do is look back literally 1 fucking calendar year and look at the fucking errors that they made with the wild card rule. And yet here they are doing it all over again. Doing it all over again. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Is USA Network happy? Are the Fox executives happy? What's going on with the brand split? What should WWE do? Where are the new superstars that you got on both of these shows? Where's the effort building them up? And believe it or not, the USA Network is asking WWE where the 24/7 title is because they want more 27 title matches on Monday Night Raw. Yet we all expect and all want and all hope and all desire a better WWE product. Yet these are the people that WWE are listening to. And then at the end of the day, they have no choice because WWE doesn't know what the fuck to do. So they're going to have an open ear to anybody, especially its USA Network, who they have been doing business with all these years. What are they going to do? Say no? USA Network's paying them $1 billion to house this fucking shit every Monday. They're not going to listen to the USA Network. I got everything you need about the brand-to-brand invitational. That's the big story right here on Off the Script. Thank you guys so very much for joining me today. It is episode 326, part number 2 for your Saturday, May 16th, 2020. Unbelievable, man. A lot of news. There's more news now than I think I ever seen. Really. There's a lot of news, a lot of big news coming out of WWE, but I guess we should be fortunate because it gives us something to talk about, really, in the dead of the summer months, or going into the summer, and then going into the dead of the summer months. There really isn't anything exciting happening in WWE, so we're getting all this news and information just coming out, and it's good topical discussion. It keeps all of us busy, so I really do appreciate that, but man, do I wish that they would do the right thing and not make the same mistake over and over again. What may be a mistake is Vince McMahon waiting too long for SummerSlam. I got news on Vince McMahon wanting fans at SummerSlam, determined to have live fans at SummerSlam. What is he going to do, and what did Dave Meltzer say on his podcast in the latest about SummerSlam? Where has Bobby Roode been? A lot of people have been asking, where is Robert Roode? So we'll talk about that and where he's been. Original plans for Becky Lynch after Money in the Bank, if, of course, she was not pregnant with her child-to-be. So I got news on that. I got a follow-up on the Sami Zayn story. He does have backstage heat, and that is the reason why he was stripped of the Intercontinental Championship, and that's why we seen a tournament last night on SmackDown for that vacant Intercontinental Championship. But WWE can't say Sami Zayn has heat, and why they took the title off of Sami Zayn for obvious reasons. And we're going to go over that in a follow-up to that story. Another follow-up with Roman Reigns. WWE staff absolutely not talking about Roman Reigns. They do not even breathe the name Roman Reigns backstage as of late coming out of WrestleMania. And I got news and notes coming out of Monday Night Raw. What's going on with Austin Theory? Is he on his way back to NXT? Why was Seth Rollins disqualified on Raw in a tag team match that he was actually a part of? I got the news on that if you were wondering why the match ended in a DQ. I got news on the next direction for Drew McIntyre as WWE Champion. And WWE seems to be moving forward with a brand new stable on Raw. And who will that include? So I got all that right here on the podcast. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me. It is episode 326, part number 2, right here on OTS. I am JD. Make sure you guys go check out part 1. I love the fact that I could trigger people just by the title of a video. I love it. I love it. I do things on purpose to purposely elicit a reaction, folks. And it's a good way for me to monitor who watches and who doesn't, because I got a lot of comments in the video last night, or the video yesterday afternoon, part 1, when I uploaded 326, that I'm a dick, I'm an asshole, I'm nothing but negative. This title is disgusting. How could you think this way? I read the title and I immediately gave the video a thumbs down. So thank you for telling me that you didn't watch the video, and thank you for telling me that you're a fucking blithering idiot, and you really did not go out there and seek the view that I brought to the table. And if you did, you would have realized that I didn't really say anything negative about Becky Lynch. You just assumed based off the title of a 2-hour podcast. So what does that make you look like? That makes you look like an unintelligent motherfucker. And I love triggering people, and I love eliciting a reaction because you guys do nothing but live vicariously through me, and I bring entertainment to all your sorry, sad, fucking pathetic existences. I love it. I love it. While I'm walking on the beach, you're on Twitter talking about me and why I'm an asshole. Who wins, bro? Who wins? I think I do. So go and watch the video. Love what I did. Love the points that I brought to the table. We talk about everything regarding Becky Lynch, why it's healthy for the women's division that she's not there, what WWE could do in the time that she's gone, how WWE could bring her back, what WWE should have did on Monday Night Raw with the Women's Championship, why Asuka won the Money in the Bank, and why Asuka is the new Raw Women's Champion, and who they plan on feuding Asuka with, man. All that wrapped up into one big ball, including the Sami Zayn stuff, and why I think it's absolute bullshit that he got stripped of the Intercontinental Championship. The only thing that WWE could really do, and I'm sure they'll really do this on SmackDown, because obviously I'm recording this right before SmackDown, they'll probably bring in, the Sami Zayn hasn't defended the title in 30 days, so we had to immediately strip him of the title because he couldn't make his contractual obligations. Whatever the fucking case may be, it's all bullshit. Whatever you hear on TV is bullshit. I know why Sami Zayn was stripped, and it's because they don't like Sami Zayn. And I would not be surprised if Sami Zayn asks for his release and goes somewhere else, because they clearly don't give a fuck about Sami Zayn. They have not given a fuck about Sami Zayn whatsoever. And if they did, they would have pushed him as a real, true, just middle-of-the-road IC champion, just has the makings of a great Intercontinental champion. They can't do that. They failed Sami Zayn big time. And, man, it's amazing to see him just go through the NXT system and just really be a good, clear-cut, blue-collar babyface that everybody loved, and WWE fucked him over. WWE fucked him over, man. And WWE fucked him over after bullshitting everybody in the company, saying that it's okay to sit at home, you're not going to be penalized, and the first guy that they take it out on is Sami Zayn. And they strip him of the title. And you want to know why. You wonder why. That nobody wants to go and confront Vince McMahon about being worried and being afraid of their health. And they want to be home with their families. They don't want to come to work when they don't really have to. It's not really necessary. Go tell that to Vince McMahon. You'll end up like Sami Zayn. Worse yet, you might be telling that to Vince McMahon, and before you know it, he's giving you his fucking termination paper. It's ridiculous. So we talk about all that on part one. Go and check it out. Monday Night Raw, AEW, and NXT reviews also down in the description. Go and check that out as well if you have not done so. Follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much, guys. Hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications. Helps me out immensely. So let's try for 1,500 thumbs up on today's video. I would really appreciate it. And if you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you can certainly do that as well. Never an obligation. Always there if you want to. Patreon.com/JDfromNY206. Just a programming notes. After today's show goes live on Saturday, obviously taking Sunday off, which I primarily do each and every week. And then I'll be back on Monday. We're going to do Monday Night Raw, AEW, NXT. We got Off the Script. And then next weekend is Double or Nothing. I will be, I think, as of right now, I will be live during the afternoon for a little pre-show, going over the preview and predictions for Double or Nothing, news and notes on Double or Nothing, and then I will absolutely 100% be live after the show goes off the air, and we'll be talking about it live right here on YouTube. So thank you guys for all the support on the live streams as of late, and I want to make sure you guys are aware that I will be back for Double or Nothing doing the same thing for their biggest show of the year. So look forward to that. And today's podcast, as always, is brought to you by my newest friends over at Keeps. Keeps.com, and we'll talk about them a little bit later. I know you guys are losing your hair watching this fucking show. I've lost my hair well before all of the quarantine stuff. That's why I got my Braves cap on each and every week. But we'll go over Keeps and how they could really rejuvenate that big blemish right up top, man, because I know I struggle with it. I know I struggle with the confidence on some days, and Keeps is here to help you look good and feel good about yourself. So we'll go over them in just a little bit as well. And I want to thank them for supporting the podcast. All the information you need on my newest sponsor linked down below in the description. Let's hit the news and notes here, man. Couple of follow-up stories I want to go over. SummerSlam, we all know. Marty Walsh in Boston has X'd out. He has canceled all big public events in the city of Boston, and that includes SummerSlam. No fan gatherings whatsoever. It's the biggest show of the summer for WWE and their second biggest show of the year in the entire company. WWE had originally had plans to hold a show in Boston at the TD Garden. Marty Walsh stated that large-scale events and parades and festivals and everything of that nature will not take place this summer. This is due to the outbreak of CV. Early this week, it was reported by WrestleVotes that WWE has looked at a few different ideas regarding this show, including pushing it back until September, looking for a new location in Boston, and more. Dave Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that Vince McMahon is determined to have a live crowd for this year's SummerSlam, or what I like to call SummerScam. While the event is scheduled for August, it was noted that if waiting until September is the only way to have the show in front of a live crowd, then the thought is he would make that move, but it is not a move decided on, and he hasn't outright committed to it yet, is what Dave Meltzer said. Meltzer also noted that McMahon is the person who will make the call and pointed out how McMahon changes his mind constantly. He added McMahon sees this pandemic as something as an inconvenience. Oh, I'm sorry, Vince, that you can't get across your shitty creative ideas because of a fucking pandemic. The reason for that is due to it getting in the way of his vision of what the product is supposed to be in addition to his plans. So, I think that may be the funniest thing I heard all year. I really do. So you mean to tell me that Vince McMahon is looking at the CV-19 pandemic as an inconvenience because it's getting in the way of his vision of what the product is supposed to be, and in the addition, getting in the way of his plans. Would someone please explain to me what his vision for WWE is and what his plans usually are? What are Vince McMahon's plans for the WWE product? This does not make any sense whatsoever, and if Vince really thinks that way, the man is truly out of his fucking mind. Now, never mind the fucking pandemic getting in his way. It's an inconvenience. I'm sorry, Vince, that you can't put on pro wrestling during a fucking pandemic in an empty arena. Sorry you can't do that, bro. You ain't doing it good. You ain't doing it good at all. The show sucks. And the WWE product is absolutely the worst it's ever been. I'm sorry. But how could it get in the way of his vision? And how could the CV get in the way of his vision and get in the way of his supposed plans for the product when this is a guy notoriously, and he's got a team notorious for booking week to week to week. This guy is notorious for changing plans. Vince McMahon doesn't even know what Vince McMahon's vision is. Vince McMahon doesn't even know what his plans are. So how could anything get in the way of Vince McMahon's vision and Vince McMahon's plans? This is a guy that books week to week. What exactly is getting in his way? Really? I don't really understand it. So please, I would love for someone to enlighten me about what is going on with this story that Meltzer talked about on The Observer. Because it certainly doesn't make any sense to me. SummerSlam is one thing. Plans and vision for the WWE product? Bro, you book week to week. I don't know what plans you got, but you got a brand-to-brand invitation with Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre. How long did it take you to come up with that one? Give me a break. I don't understand why this company is just so stuck in its ways and refuse to change. SummerSlam is one thing. I hope there are live fans before SummerSlam. But I found that to be incredibly laughable. I really did. Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode. Remember Bobby Roode in NXT? I do. Remember Bobby Roode on the main roster? I don't. Buried. Ruined. Took a perfect heel, really great top-of-the-line heel in NXT. Ruined him on day one on the main roster. Why? Because they took a heel and turned him babyface because of his theme music. Because of his theme music. Vince thought his theme music was a babyface theme, and he didn't want the fans to sing along to a theme song that was made for a heel. This is Vince McMahon's genius, folks. This is his vision. His vision has been fucked for the last 10 years plus. Where's Bobby Roode, though? Fans have picked up on Bobby Roode being absent from WWE television. Meltzer reported in the latest edition of The Observer that Roode is in the same situation as the Singh brothers, as they have not been on television. Does anybody give a fuck about the Singh brothers? Are you serious? Now, Bobby Roode is in the same situation as the Singh brothers, as they have not been on television due to them living in Canada. With the coronavirus outbreak and the borders between Canada and the United States being closed, they can't get into the country. Thus, it's not a situation where they don't want to work WWE tapings, but they simply can't travel. Other international talent also face this challenge, such as Pete Dunne. That's why he is no longer the NXT Tag Team Champion, being that Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher, the Newly Bros, lost those titles to Imperium on Wednesday. Pete Dunne, Jordan Devlin also can't make it because he lives in the UK. Former WWE Champion Brock Lesnar also lives in Canada, but it was noted that WWE was able to pull strings and make it work for him so he can travel to Canada, from Canada to Orlando to make TV tapings when necessary at the Performance Center. Of course, it's Brock Lesnar, right? Fuck everybody else. As long as we got Brock on a flight back to Orlando when we need him, that's fine. Roode's last match and appearance on WWE programming came back in March when he teamed up with Dolph Ziggler to compete in the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team titles, and that was at the Chamber event. Meltzer also added that most of the other talent that is Canadian has already moved to Florida, so it's not an issue for them to travel like Roode and the Singhs. Bobby Roode, he didn't really add anything to the show. He also didn't take away anything from the show. But I think it would be great if they did pair him back up with Dolph Ziggler. Because, listen, I'm not even going to go out there and say WWE has a great heel in Bobby Roode. They should just bring him back to being a heel. He's 40 plus. WWE doesn't look at him as being a top-of-the-line guy in WWE due to his age, even though I don't think that should really matter at all. I mean, just look at AJ Styles. Bobby Roode's got the look. He looks great. He's great in the ring. He's got the character. He's got the gimmick. He's got everything working for him. He's a great promo. So WWE just doesn't want to give Bobby Roode that role, even though I do think he would have a great run at the top for just a short time. You don't have to make him a big, long-term thing on SmackDown or Raw, but my goodness, man, if you go back and give me the heel Bobby Roode that we've seen in NXT, I think he would make a lot of guys look good. There'd be a lot of great feuds. I think it would work out great. But what WWE is probably going to do is that he's gone. They'll probably bring him back and pair him with Dolph Ziggler, which I don't look at to be somewhat of a negative or so much of a big negative to WWE program because they need tag teams. Ziggler is great. Ziggler is great when you call upon him. Bobby Roode is great. Pairing them and putting them in the tag team division could really help balance that out and add another team that is desperately needed in that tag team division. So I think that's exactly what they're going to do. But the fact that people have been asking, I mean, this is what you're thinking about. Where's Bobby Roode? What difference does Bobby Roode make to SmackDown? Who cares? The shows suck with or without Bobby Roode. So I don't understand. Do I miss him? Somewhat, I do. But I miss the Bobby Roode of old. I don't miss the current version of what WWE has done to Bobby Roode. And I do think that if he comes back, a tag team with Dolph Ziggler is probably the best bet for not only them, but for the overall health of the tag team division on SmackDown because they desperately need some depth over there in the tag team division. The original plans for Becky Lynch after Money in the Bank, this has been revealed after her pregnancy announcement on Monday Night Raw. Dave Meltzer reported in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter that for the Raw after WrestleMania, which was actually taped before WrestleMania, meaning before she knew she was pregnant, her promo for the show focused on a rematch with Shayna Baszler, who lost to Lynch at WrestleMania 36 to keep that program between those two women alive. It was brought up how Nia Jax also made her return to in-ring action on that Raw and was pushed as a monster at the same time with the idea of her being a title contender. Fast forward to the new tapings done after WrestleMania, WWE had Baszler and Jax qualify for the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and Lynch wasn't at the taping. Meltzer wrote, due to these booking decisions, it would indicate it being the early part of April when she was told, or when the announcement was made to the company by Becky Lynch. They had to keep it under wraps for about a month. Money in the Bank was taped on 4/15, so it's very clear they knew before then. Meltzer noted how the original plans for Lynch at Money in the Bank were for her to wrestle and successfully retain the title against Nia Jax. Also, Baszler was originally booked to win the ladder match in order to be Lynch's main rival for the title going on into the summer. So, again, everything that I mentioned on yesterday's show kind of made sense. It was kind of in the realm of what I was going for. They didn't give Shayna Baszler the title because they already knew the announcement. They knew Becky Lynch was pregnant. So they didn't have Shayna win the title because they needed to reroute everything. How stupid would it have looked if Shayna won the briefcase and then Becky had to hand the title over to Shayna Baszler? That would have ruined the entire moment for not only the Raw Women's Championship, but for Becky Lynch and that real feel-good, just real moment, right? And obviously, with everything else, she wrestled at WrestleMania pregnant. WWE knew this all beforehand. The reason why the match with Shayna Baszler was very underwhelming was because she was pregnant. She couldn't do much. And even if she wanted to, or probably could, WWE wasn't going to allow it to happen. So everything kind of lined up. And Shayna Baszler was going to win the Money in the Bank, but WWE opted to go this route, give it to Asuka, make Asuka the woman in that feel-good moment. I guess book Shayna Baszler in a way where she is a dominating heel that doesn't need the Money in the Bank, and she's going to come off as a legit badass anyway. So the original plans are exactly what we all thought they would be. Nia Jax would have come back. They were building her up as a dominating monster to be fed to Becky Lynch, which to me wouldn't have done anything for her title reign anyway. But Shayna Baszler was the end result. And Shayna Baszler was eventually going to take that title from Becky Lynch. And that was the original plan if she had not come out on Monday to announce that she was pregnant. So everything would have lined up pretty similar to how everybody predicted it would have. Outside the Nia Jax situation, I thought that probably would have happened a little bit later, but WWE, in this reign, before they took it off of her and gave it to Shayna, probably wanted to get that match done. So that's everything that they had lined up for Becky Lynch, eventually leading to Shayna Baszler getting the title, possibly at SummerSlam or somewhere earlier as the summer months just began. So that was that, and that is a follow-up to everything that I talked about in regards to Becky Lynch on yesterday's show. There is legit heat on Sami Zayn, but WWE can't say for obvious reasons. Now, as previously noted, WWE has told wrestlers that they could opt to stay home because of the coronavirus pandemic, and Zayn is one of the wrestlers that took them up on that offer. He has not been on TV at all in the last couple of weeks. Dave Meltzer noted in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that nobody can say it publicly for obvious reasons, but there is a lot of unhappiness that Zayn exercised the option that they gave everyone regarding not wrestling if you don't want to right now. WWE has announced that there will be a tournament on Friday Night SmackDown, which got underway on Friday's show last night to crown a new IC champion. Zayn has taken to Twitter to criticize WWE for stripping him of the title. Clearly, that is done in character, just like Jordan Devlin did the same thing when WWE stripped him of the Cruiserweight Championship. How unfair it is. This is a travesty. This is a embarrassing decision on the company, etc., etc. Sami Zayn did the same thing. If Sami Zayn really wanted to go out there and blast the company, he would not have a job anymore. He really wouldn't. And I honestly don't think he's going to have a job. He's one of those guys I just look at and think WWE would rather cut him because he looks like he could be very outspoken in ways where other people have not been on social media in regards to how the company works, how the company operates, how shit the company is, and how terrible they've treated him creatively on the main roster. It is notable that Jordan Devlin was never stripped of the NXT Championship since he can't travel to the United States. This is a very good point, and one that I am actually surprised I didn't make yesterday when talking about the Sami Zayn situation. I brought up everything else in regards to this situation, but this is another one that just doesn't make any sense. They never stripped Jordan Devlin of the championship, which makes him still the Cruiserweight champion. It still keeps him in that league of, you know what, he's still the champion. People should still take him seriously as a serious threat for the Cruiserweight division. WWE didn't strip him, but they stripped Sami Zayn. WWE could have done the same thing with Sami Zayn as they did with Jordan Devlin and create an interim Intercontinental Championship tournament. And when Sami Zayn comes back, that would have been a great way for Daniel Bryan to win the championship. And then Sami Zayn comes back when he's ready with the real Intercontinental Championship. And they have a champion versus champion match. And you can continue the Daniel Bryan-Sami Zayn feud that was put on hold because he opted to stay home. And that would settle that. And that would get a conclusion to what those guys were dealing with going into WrestleMania. And I thought that would be a great way to do it. But WWE clearly didn't do that. They never stripped Jordan Devlin of the Cruiserweight Championship. Since he can't travel to the United States, they decided to crown an interim champion, with the idea being that the interim champion will eventually face Devlin when he is able to get into the country. Devlin has not defended the title since early March, while Zayn hasn't defended the title since the WrestleMania tapings, and yet they decided to take the title from Zayn, strip him of the title, and have a tournament for the Intercontinental Championship. Is Sami Zayn ever going to get another opportunity at the IC title? Probably not. Did WWE royally fuck this up? Absolutely. Is WWE a shit company for outright punishing Sami Zayn, even though they opted to everybody, gave the courtesy to everybody to stay at home during this pandemic? You won't be punished. You won't lose your spot. You won't lose your place on TV, right? You won't be one of those guys that moves down the card because you opt to stay home. But WWE clearly is changing the rules on Sami Zayn. And WWE is a shit company. In the public eye, they want to be Mr. Good Guy. Behind the black curtain, they want to be dicks. And they want to be fucking, it's either our way or the highway. That sucks. That absolutely is fucking terrible. And WWE should be ashamed of themselves. They are a shit group of fucking people. I hate it. I hate to see people like this get fucked over because they're doing what they think is right, what is the right decision amongst the majority of the people, and he's getting punished for it because he won't come to work. And it's all based on Vince McMahon. If Vince McMahon sees you or looks at you and deems you as weak, right? If Vince McMahon is coming to work during this pandemic, he's 74 fucking years old. If there's anybody in that company that should be afraid of what's going on and should be wary and should be home, quarantining himself, staying away from everybody, it's Vince McMahon. If he is treating this as an inconvenience and he's treating this as, I'm not going to stop my operation, my day-to-day operation for some fucking virus, he expects everybody else to do the same. And that is fucked up. I feel so bad for Sami Zayn. He worked to get an Intercontinental Championship. Twitter blew up when he won the Intercontinental Championship. And now we're looking at Sami Zayn being punished for doing what? For staying at home and not wanting to risk getting ill or risk getting his family ill. He's being punished and stripped of everything he's worked hard for because WWE says, you know what? You don't want to come to work? Fuck you. We need our title back. Now WWE needs the IC title back, but a month ago, they didn't really need the Intercontinental Championship. They didn't care about the IC title. When have they ever cared about the IC title? I mean, Nakamura held it for how many months and did nothing with it? Seriously. NXT, again, proves to do the right thing. NXT, again, continues to show that they actually care about their talent. WWE could have easily said, interim cruiserweight or interim cruiserweight championship like NXT did, interim intercontinental championship. That would have made TV a lot of fun. It would have made it a lot of fun. Instead of just crowning somebody in a worthless fucking tournament. And it would continue the Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan storyline, which needed a closing of the book to happen to it anyway. It's funny. It's funny. It's funny how creative and shitty these people are, man. Really. How many of you are actually in the corner of Sami Zayn here? And the only thing that I could really pinpoint as to him being stripped of the title is per WWE contract, right? If you can't make your contractual obligations and defend the title in the 30-day period, then you should be stripped. I'm sure WWE will use that excuse on TV. But I'm here to say that that excuse is bullshit because they don't really abide by that rule anyway. Brock Lesnar could sit at home for 3 fucking months and not be stripped. Then neither should Sami Zayn. Seriously. Becky Lynch wasn't stripped of the fucking title. How long of a stretch did she go without defending the title? Had to be at least once in that title reign. Give me a break. They institute the rule on who they don't like, and those who they do like, they get a bye. It doesn't matter to them. Sami Zayn got fucked over. Let me know what you guys think about that one down below. WWE staff is not speaking of Roman Reigns at all backstage during their Raw, SmackDown, and NXT tapings. Not really much to say on this, but I found this floating around online. Roman Reigns actually made a cameo, not himself, but he was on a poster during Money in the Bank. He wasn't even on the event, but WWE had a clear as day shot of Roman Reigns in the offices of WWE headquarters. His name isn't written into the scripts either. Those are all carefully crafted and obviously looked over by Vince McMahon, and leaving Roman Reigns out is the one thing that WWE has instituted moving forward. Nothing happens on WWE TV without Vince McMahon's approval, obviously. That includes mentioning Roman Reigns, amongst other things. Now, there have been people asking about Roman Reigns still to this day. Where is Roman? What is Roman doing? Is he coming back? When is he coming back? He was on TMZ giving the reason why he is home and that he actually wants to come back to work, but told everybody why he can't come back to work. Clearly, that didn't make WWE happy either. Now, there are credible sources in the community that have learned that Roman Reigns' name wasn't mentioned at all backstage during the TV tapings. Nobody is going to bother Vince McMahon about this article of information as well. And right now, with everything that's going on, it's the last thing on his mind. Now, I quote from these sources. This is what they say. His name not mentioned at all. And no one is going to ask Vince. This is not a situation that's gotten any better since the big dog went on TMZ and did that interview with TMZ. If WWE mentions Roman Reigns on television, then that brings him into the narrative. things are still not to the point where McMahon wants Reigns' name to be involved in any storytelling. Roman Reigns might appear on digital clips or other online offerings, but that part is when WWE deems fit. They have their days. Sometimes they want to mention Roman Reigns. Sometimes they don't want to mention Roman Reigns. The part to pay attention to is whether his name appears on a script that Vince McMahon approves. It boils down to Vince McMahon not bringing Roman Reigns up and everybody else being afraid to do so. McMahon was on a bit of a tear over the television tapings. He cut out high spots, and he also demanded respect for WWE referees. This is his new thing now. So we'll have to see when Roman Reigns returns. He said that he is healthy and his immune system is very good. He is staying safe for his young children and his family. His wife just had twins. And Roman Reigns' name probably isn't going to come up on television anytime soon. Again, this is nothing more than a follow-up. I have nothing else to add to this on top of what I already stated. They didn't give us an explanation as to why. WWE failed to really bring the real-life, I guess, feeling about this to WWE television because they're beyond that. They're better than that. Meanwhile, Chris Jericho is on AEW Dynamite mentioning the coronavirus and how the world is going through this and that and times are changing. We're living in a dark world right now. They actually mentioned what was going on Dynamite. You can't run from it. You can't run from it. WWE is operating as if nothing is going on, and that's why people have kind of taken a bad taste to WWE. They act as if they're better than everything, and nothing else is going on. Yeah, we're operating because we are here and everybody else is down here. WWE comes off with that type of that type of mentality. And with Roman Reigns, you know, it's a sticky situation. I want to believe he's home and I want to believe he did the right thing. But part of me, the conspiracy theorist in me, when it comes to the Roman Reigns agenda, right? Part of me thinks that WWE is building a big, elaborate plan. WrestleVotes tweeted out that WWE had to cancel some big plans for the spring and summer with a major storyline that was on the level of a Nexus or a Vince McMahon limo blowing up. Who's to say that that storyline didn't involve Roman Reigns? And this would have been one big, storyline for Roman Reigns to come back. Roman Reigns against the agenda. Roman Reigns being erased from WWE TV because of the agenda of the machine. Who's to say that wouldn't have been the storyline? Who's to say WWE still isn't planning that storyline? Who's to say WWE isn't mentioning Roman Reigns at all because they have something big planned, like a big storyline like that, where he comes back and he's the overwhelming big hero. He's the unsung hero because they so desperately want to turn him heel. Oh, they should turn him heel. Turn him babyface because they refuse to turn him heel. They want to bring him back as a babyface. WWE did so well, and I'll give them that, with Reigns and building Reigns up. The feud with Corbin for 7 months didn't do anything, but I think people started to look at Roman Reigns in a different light. Some people were actually taking Roman Reigns over Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins was always the coolest guy in the Shield compared to Roman Reigns. Who's to say that WWE isn't keeping Roman Reigns off of TV because they're bringing him back when the time is right, when they want, because he is going to come back as the big babyface, unsung hero to save everybody. And WWE is just doing this as far as another big, desperate attempt to get him over as the guy, the man, the number one guy, and the biggest babyface in the company so nobody boos him. I would not be shocked. Please keep this podcast and keep this opinion in the back pocket of yours, because I would not be shocked. Why else would they take the biggest draw in the company right now, being that John Cena is not there anymore? Why would they take the number one guy and absolutely go to the extent of keeping him off a video package that chronicled Seth Rollins cashing in on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns match at WrestleMania 31? Who did he pin? Who did Seth Rollins pin? He pinned Brock Lesnar? No, he pinned Roman Reigns. WWE blacked the screen out. All we heard was the 1, 2, 3 being made, and then Rollins spinning the title on the stage at WrestleMania 31. That was it. We've seen Roman Reigns on a poster. So what? So what? Unless WWE wanted to blur that out, they had to show that in there. WWE is always thinking about something fishy. They're always doing something fishy. They're always operating on what they want to do and what they want to keep secret. Roman Reigns is being kept off TV and not being mentioned on TV for what? Because of his big eventual return. Gotta make sense. Why else would you do it? Why are you so angry at this guy for doing the right thing? He just had fucking twins. And you want him back on TV, and then you want him to show up at the tapings and then drive to Tampa where he lives, an hour away, and possibly infect his fucking family. With twins at home now. And his wife being at home. With the rest of his kids. Who knows if he's got elderly living in his house? You don't know. WWE is doing something really suspicious. I don't trust them at all. Again, keep this opinion in your back pocket. And when we see Reigns happen to show up on TV and something big happens with Roman Reigns, what are they just going to trot Roman Reigns out as if nothing happened? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. So we'll see what happens with that again. Keep that in your back pocket and we'll see. We'll revisit this. May 16th. May 16th, 2020. We'll see if WWE has something planned for Roman Reigns as far as a big, big storyline. I mentioned it could have been the Undisputed Era or the arrival of the Undisputed Era on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Could end up being Roman Reigns that WrestleVotes was talking about. Why else would they take him off of TV? Guys, I've always said to you that I would never promote something that I do not believe in. A lot of you guys are probably wondering when you watch me on a daily basis here on the channel, here on the podcast, why I'm always wearing a baseball cap. Everywhere I go for pretty much the entire time I've been alive, I came out of the womb wearing a baseball cap. It's always phone, wallet, keys, and my baseball cap. I never leave home without it. I wear it everywhere, no matter what I'm doing, no matter the time of year. I will wear my baseball cap all year round, even sitting here in the comfort of my own home, recording the podcast. Why is that? Because we all suffer with self-confidence issues. We got some self-esteem issues. And one of the things that I struggle with and have been struggling with is the fact that you got a little bit of baldness up here. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. But now there's a way to take care of that. And I want to thank them for supporting the podcast. We are being sponsored today by Keeps. Did you guys know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time you are 35 years old? The best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair left. You guys can get treated from home. You used to have to go to the doctor's office for your hair loss prescription. Now, thanks to Keeps, you can visit a doctor online and get your hair loss medication delivered right to your front door. They make it easy and deliver your medication every 3 months so you guys can say goodbye to pharmacy checkout lines and awkward doctor visits. Keeps offers generic versions of the only 2 FDA-approved hair loss products out there. You may have tried them before, but probably never for this price. And prevention is key. Keep treatments can take up to 4 to 6 months or more to see results, so it's important to act fast. The sooner you guys start using Keeps, the more hair you will save. And a bonus, 5-star reviews. More 5-star reviews than any of its competitors, and nearly 100,000 men trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention medication. Guys, if you are losing your hair, do something about it. For a limited time, go to keeps.com/JD or click the link down in the comments pinned at the very top of this video to receive 50% off your first order. Once again, guys, if you are noticing that you're losing your hair and you want to do something about it, use Keeps for a limited time. Keeps.com/JD. Click the link down in the comment section, and I want to thank them for supporting the podcast right here on Off the Script. I'm looking at the Raw rating, bro. I'm looking at the Raw rating, and I'm trying to figure out what sound clip fits best with the Monday Night Raw rating. Got the good old classic Bob Barker, Price is Right, losing horn. It's always a good one. What about this one, man? I love me some Mega Man. I love me some Mega Man, bro. The Little Blue Bomber. What about this one? I love me some Solid Snake as well. I really do. Metal Gear Solid 4, one of my favorite games of all time. What about this one? love me some Super Mario. What about this one? Good old Ryu getting Hadoukened. Sounds like a good one. What about this one? I love me some Legend of Zelda, man. Love me some Legend of Zelda. Any one of those would fit. Any one of those would fit. But the Raw rating was up. The Raw rating was up. Just like I hope Seth Rollins was up when he, did the thing over there with, Becky Lynch, you know? I wonder if he took some Blue Chew before he did the deed. I hope so. BlueChew.com. Code JD at checkout if you guys want to be, up like the Messiah, you know? Monday Night Raw rating. The best rating since April 6th. Since April 6th. This was a post-Money in the Bank episode of Raw from May 11th. And the ratings were up 13.7% from last week's record low, averaging 1.919 million viewers on Monday's show. Still below it, too, though. So the good guys win. I still get to laugh. When I see that Raw rating below it too, man, that makes my insides all warm and fuzzy, you know? Just like a nice hot chocolate on a cold winter night while you're sitting in front of the fireplace. Extra marshmallows in there, and preferably dark chocolate. It was the highest viewership for the show since April 6th, which is the Raw after WrestleMania for WrestleMania 36. And starting late Wednesday afternoon, the episode was heavily promoted around a major announcement from Becky Lynch. I didn't know whether it was true or not. I was actually streaming Final Fantasy VII on Twitch, and people infiltrated my chat. JD, Becky's pregnant. JD, Becky Lynch is going to announce a pregnancy on Monday night. I'm like, what? You guys trolling me right now? I'm trying to fight this fucking boss, and I'm getting announcements like that. That turned out to be true, with her announcing that she was pregnant, that she will be leaving WWE, and Asuka is now the Raw Women's Champion. Raw opened up with a relatively strong 1.993 million viewers, so much for Becky Lynch being a draw. It held up pretty well throughout the show, averaging 1.961 for the second hour and dropping to 1.802 in that third hour. The first to third hour drop of 10% is slightly better than the usual audience retention. Raw averaged a 0.57 in the 18 to 49 demo, topping all of cable TV. In total viewers, the show finished 18th on cable, but was second in non-news. I'm sorry. Man, I'm sleep deprived. I can't even read my own fucking notes. Was second in non-news programming behind Celebrity IOU. I think Vince owes me some good Monday Night Raws on HGTV. The strongest demo for the show was a 0.79 rating in the men 18 to 49 demographic, which topped all of cable television. Let's go back. What happened on Monday Night Raw? Becky Lynch got knocked up. Okay, we all know that. I'm not talking about it anymore. She got knocked up. She's pregnant. Vacated the Raw Women's title. Asuka is your Raw Women's Champion. If you guys want my thoughts on it, part 1 of the podcast is linked down below. Go and check it out. Bobby Lashley defeated Humberto Carrillo in a no disqualification match after this guy, Mr. Dimples over here, who was quarantined in some fucking Taco Town, Mexico, Humberto, he squashed, or buried, I should say is a better word, Angel Garza and Austin Theory last week on Raw to only get demolished by Bobby Lashley on this week's Monday Night Raw. So I ask you if your plan, and Vince McMahon has a vision, people. Vince McMahon has a vision for the show. Vince has a vision of burying young talent just to get Bobby Lashley over so he can squash and bury Humberto Carrillo. I don't understand it. I really don't. This company works ass backwards. Bobby Lashley beat Humberto in a no DQ match. I am not lying to you. If I watched a minute of this horrific match, I'd be lying to you. I really would. I don't give a shit. And believe it or not, they're actually setting Bobby Lashley up to be the next challenger for Drew McIntyre at Backlash. So if you guys ever want to miss a WWE Championship match, by all means, Backlash is right up your alley. Angel Garza, buried. He was buried by Humberto. They give him Akira Tozawa, somebody else who has been buried on Monday night. He defeated Akira Tozawa. And then, since that match ended, we get a argument between Theory and the rest of the guys. They shove Theory around. Andrade is interrupted by Drew McIntyre. And we get a champion versus champion match on Monday Night Raw. We've seen this a couple of weeks back, and now we need to see it again. Because WWE doesn't know what the fuck they want to do. Andrade and the United States Championship is right now in limbo. They ain't doing anything with it. I don't really understand the desire to bury the United States Championship. Drew McIntyre is... They have such a great mid-card on Monday Night Raw. They have absolutely no fucking excuses to have the United States Championship be as worthless as it is right now. Andrade has lost all momentum. He's lost all steam. Maybe he should get Charlotte knocked up. Be honest with you. Everybody loves Becky Lynch. I'd rather Becky Lynch be on TV than Charlotte Flair. Why don't we have Andrade knock up Charlotte Flair and we can have a twofer? Get Charlotte off of TV, get Becky off of TV. Man, that women's division will be an open field day for anybody. We got Bianca on top. We have Asuka on top. Liv Morgan could be a fucking champion, right? Everybody would start getting opportunity. They would have no choice but to push Sasha Banks as the number one female. Maybe this is a good idea. I'm getting myself excited over that one, man. Andrade, bro, you got one job to do. Instead of jobbing to fucking losers on Monday Night Raw, go and do your job and knock up your woman. Seriously. What's going on there, bro? Seriously. United States title is worthless. And Andrade, did he beat Drew McIntyre? Of course not. He didn't do it once. Why would he do it the second time? What is this? Yeah, I think we'll skip that. The Moronics! The Idiotics versus Alexa Bliss and Nicole Cross. Yeah, what a barn burner that was, man. Holy shit. Match of the year? Where? In your fucking nightmare. That's where. Match of the year. You know, I had to watch people retweet fucking reactions to these two clowns coming out, crying and jumping on their couch. I mean, give me a break, people. The Idiotics! Moving on. Now, that's something that I did not watch. If you expect me to give you my expert analysis, please. Seriously. I would rather do anything else than... What was Guy... You know what? We're going to have a new segment on the show. What was Guy Fieri eating during the Iconics? That's what we're going to do on Monday night. I'm going to switch to the Food Network, and we're going to find out, and we're going to analyze what Guy Fieri was eating on Triple D. That's going to be the new segment on the show every time these two clowns show up on Monday Night Raw. R-Truth and his two clowns over here, Rick O'Shea and Cedric Alexander, defeated MVP, Shane Thorne, and Brendan Vink. Man, what a Monday Night Raw. And then they want to know why they got a 1.9 rating. They beat MVP's guys. Man, what a great way to establish a new stable by having them lose. Awesome stuff there, Vince. Rey Mysterio suffered an eye injury. He got thrown off the fucking roof of Titan Tower. Then he gets his eyeball taken out by Seth Rollins. Tag team match didn't really... I would say it wasn't even a tag team match because it was more of a handicap match. Rollins was comatose on the outside. Standing on the outside, he only attacked Rey Mysterio while he was the illegal man on the apron, which we'll talk about in a second. Got himself DQ'd and jammed Rey Mysterio's eye into the corner of the steel steps, which, to me, I'm looking at this as the end of the line for Rey Mysterio. You could have did that to anybody else, but Rey Mysterio, WWE's doing it for a reason. Rey is on his way out of WWE. We got the Viking Raiders, Experience, Globetrotters. They lose in a basketball game 74-2. Guys, these guys went from the War Raiders chanting war at the beginning of their match, right? Very metal-like, very heavy metal-esque. They looked cool, they looked intimidating, they looked great, right? They're a great tag team. Then they go to the Viking Experience. Sounds like a fucking Disney ride at Disney World. You gotta be about this high to go on the ride, and it sucks. Then they get renamed to the Viking Raiders for whatever reason. We couldn't say War Raiders on TV, yet we got the fucking Iconics on TV. And they go from that to another gimmick change. Now they're the Viking Globetrotters. If I ever seen two worthless bench players in my entire life, here you go. Ivar and Eric of the Viking Raiders Experience Globetrotters. 74-2, folks. They had more fouls than they had points. And this is the current state of the tag team division on Monday night. Awesome. What are they going to do next week? Are they going to play fucking golf? They're going to play tennis? How about a game of chess? Seriously. I would actually, you know what? I would actually watch a game of chess between the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders and find that to be more entertaining than the fucking 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. What are they going to play? Croquet? What is that? The fucking, the game there where you got to take the stick and you put the ball in the fucking ring there. What is that? What are they going to go for, a swimming or a lap around some big Olympic pool? What are they going to do? How about we have a hot wing contest? That's what I love to do. How many chicken legs can Montez Ford stuff in his mouth before Ivar beats him to it? I don't know. This is what we got. Shayna Baszler embarrassed Natalya. Who gives a shit, man? I would rather stare at Kat's shit than watch Natalya wrestle. And then Randy Orton challenged Edge to a wrestling match. A wrestling match, folks. You might have to go back into the Wayback Machine to find the last good wrestling match that Randy Orton had. I don't even remember. When I look at Randy Orton, I don't look at good wrestling match because he's a good wrestler. But Randy Orton putting on a good wrestling match, for the most part, it's been boring every time Randy Orton has been in a legitimate wrestling match. And I made this point on the Raw review. Charlie, this is not going to be the greatest wrestling match of all time. You're an idiot. You may be beautiful, but you're an idiot. I don't know who gave her that line or fed her that line, but Jesus Christ, you should be fucking fired along with Heath Slater and the rest of them. WWE did this backwards. They gave you the stipulation. They gave you the story, and then they gave you the stipulation match at WrestleMania, which should be a blow-off, right? Or am I just that much out of touch with things, folks? You know, if I'm a creative writer and I'm telling this to my boss, or I'm telling this to you, this is the same way I would tell it to my boss, to be honest with you. They gave us a stipulation, which means blow-off. Stipulation equals blow-off, folks. So WWE gives us the blow-off, and then they want to give it to us again in a standard wrestling match, and we all know why they're doing it. WWE needs ratings on Monday night. They figured, let's bring back two big guys like Randy Orton and Edge. People will watch. This is pretty much them admitting that their match at WrestleMania sucked, and they want a do-over. Please give me a do-over. So that's all that is. And WWE should have done the wrestling match first, and then the stipulation Falls Count Anywhere match second. So they're extending this feud for what? When we got the blow-off and Edge got his revenge at WrestleMania for what? You don't think we see right through their bullshit? Give me a break, folks. And then they wonder why Monday Night Raw is one of the worst shows on television. There was a time where Monday Night Raw was passable. It wasn't completely vomit-inducing, but it's been absolutely horrendous as of late. Really. That show sucked on Monday night. So that's that. Best rating since April 6th, though. Good for them. Sure they'll be popping the bubbly over a 1.9 rating. Austin Theory could be on his way back to NXT. Thank Christ. Thank Christ. Hey, he doesn't even fit in the group. I lived with it because it is what it is, and he's a talented guy. But he doesn't fit into that group of Andrade and Angel Garza. Now, Mike Johnson noted on PW Insider Elite that Theory was not in any long-term plans for Zelina's stable. Theory was only brought up to the main roster as a replacement with Andrade at WrestleMania, but he ended up sticking around for a few more weeks after the pay-per-view. Johnson said this: they seem to be teasing the beginning of Austin Theory getting tossed out of the group. When Austin Theory debuted at WrestleMania, I was told he was not long for this group. He was there basically to help cover things up in terms of what was needed while Andrade was injured, but the long-term plan was not to keep him with Zelina Vega and her friends, with Angel Garza and Andrade. Now, before being called up to Raw, Vince McMahon did not know much about Austin Theory, and the suggestion to him to move to Monday Night Raw was made by Paul Heyman. A couple of weeks ago, there was some talk of moving Theory back to NXT because some feel he still has the potential to be really good, and he needs more ring experience away from the main roster. Absolutely. I've been saying this for weeks. What is the rush? The guy is 22 years old, 23 years old. Why do we need him mixing it up on Monday Night Raw when all we're getting and all the impressions that we're getting are not good ones because of WWE's creative laziness and creative stupidity? You think I want to lump guys like Andrade, Garza, and now Austin Theory into that? I want to lump Austin Theory into that negativity? I don't. This guy's got NXT World Champion written all over him. You brought him up as an experiment. Good for him. He got his feet wet on the main roster. Good for him. He got his name, his body type, his style, his look and character and everything over on the main roster with guys like Vince and Bruce and Kevin Dunn and all these big wigs over on Monday Night Raw. Good. Good. You opened some eyes. You impressed some guys. You introduced yourself by working hard and showing up to work and this and that. Great. So when your time comes to be called up, and it will happen, it should happen. If it doesn't happen, these people are fucking stupid. When your time is up to be called up, then people are going to know who you are. So this is a positive. It did nothing for him now, but it is a positive. Send him back down to NXT. This guy has got major championship written all over him. This guy has North American champion possibly written all over him. This guy is 22 years old, 23 years old. By the time he's 25, 26, he's going to have an entire WWE career ahead of him. Get his feet wet with some championships. Get his feet wet with some takeovers. Get his feet wet with some main event level shows. Get his feet wet showing everybody how good he really is. And with the potential to get better, nobody knows how good he can be. I think it would be great. Honestly. So let's see what happens. And to be fair, you know, he does have major championship potential written all over him. But what about the other guys that he could possibly feud with? A feud with Keith Lee, a feud with the Velveteen Dream. If I'm not mistaken, the Velveteen Dream really gave his endorsement to Austin Theory while Velveteen Dream was working Evolve shows. So there is still so much for him to do down at NXT that moving him back down there would be the best decision possible. They have so much talent on Monday Night Raw that they're currently not using or not using well. So why do you need Austin Theory to fit into all that negativity? Send them back down to NXT. It'd be the best thing that could possibly happen to him at this point in time. Seth Rollins in that tag team match with Buddy Murphy against Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio was disqualified because he broke one of Vince McMahon's secret rules. Now, I didn't even know Vince McMahon had a secret rule, but on The Observer Live, Brian Alvarez said another McMahon rule was broken when Mysterio was attacked by Rollins, who was not the legal man in the match. Now, as you guys may know or may have read somewhere or heard somewhere, the referees in WWE are told to call matches like it's a shoot. Basically, if a wrestler forgets to get their shoulder up, or if they don't get in the ring before a count of 10, then the referee is instructed to count them out, even if it's not the planned finish of the match. Alvarez said this, and I quote, "There is in fact a secret rule. It's a Vince McMahon rule." Now, I went back and I did some research and I found that this is a legitimate rule on tag team wrestling. He continued, in a tag team match, you know how you tag and there's 5 seconds when you can both be in the ring at the same time, right? If I tag you for 5 seconds, we can both be in the ring, do double teams, and referee counts to 5. One of the guys, the illegal guys, got to get out, okay? However, outside of that 5 seconds, if you are not the legal man, you cannot touch the other team's legal man. Vince is adamant that this be enforced. If you are legal, you are allowed to hit the other team's illegal man, but the illegal man cannot touch the legal man. So Rey, because he's legal, is allowed to hit Seth on the apron, but Seth is on the apron. He is not allowed to hit Rey. Seth can hit Aleister because they are both illegal. Legal can hit illegal, but illegal cannot hit legal, but illegal can hit illegal. So that's that. I know that's a lot to take in for some of you out there, but that is what I call tag team wrestling, folks. That is legitimate tag team wrestling. I even went back and looked at some of the older Revival tweets where they wanted to change the rules and bring some seriousness to the tag team division while they were in negotiation with WWE, and WWE promised that they would really ramp up how tag team wrestling is portrayed on the main roster. I had to go back and look at some Revival tweets they even mention that that is a legitimate tag team rule. So it's a Vince McMahon rule. Vince McMahon created tag team wrestling, folks. It's a Vince McMahon rule. In other words, it's a standard, proper, legitimate tag team wrestling mechanic. And it cannot be broken. But it's a Vince McMahon rule. Now, what that means, being that it's a Vince McMahon rule, that WWE more than likely has broken this rule in the past, and Vince McMahon doesn't want this rule to be broken, so he is deeming it a Vince McMahon rule. That's what I figure out there. That's what I just see when I read this story. Vince is apparently very adamant about the referees enforcing this rule. This is why the match ended awkwardly before they went to a scheduled post-match attack on Rey Mysterio. Alvarez continued, and I quote, Vince is so adamant about this rule that when the wrestlers put together matches, there are spots they want to do, but they can't because this will violate that rule. Even though I said all of that, you are still allowed to break up a pin. So illegal, as noted, can hit legal to break up the pin. If the illegal man tries to make a pin and the referee isn't paying attention and the illegal man hits the illegal man, I think that's a disqualification. If you are on the apron and you step inside and you punch the legal man, even though it has no bearing on the match, that's a disqualification. But if someone is pinning your partner and you step in to break it up, which is a save, that is legal. That's why on Raw, Rey went for the 619 and Seth grabbed him and threw him on the floor, and that was a disqualification because of this crazy rule. It's not that crazy. Alvarez thinks it's crazy, but I don't think Alvarez knows exactly what the tag team rule is. That is a legit tag team rule. You being the illegal man on the outside cannot in any which way go and take it upon yourself to take the legal man, your opponent who is legal, out of the match and start beating him up for no reason. That's a disqualification. So that is a legit tag team rule. It's a Vince rule now all of a sudden, but it is in the book of tag team wrestling from what I read and understood. So let me know what you guys think about that. I thought it was crazy when it happened. I love the post-match attack with Seth Rollins grabbing Rey Mysterio, taking his mask off, just going crazy, right? And taking his eye and ramming it into the corner of the steel steps. I thought it was great. I'm intrigued about what Seth Rollins is doing, why he's going through this, what's wrong with him, where he goes from here. I don't know. I found that to be one of the high spots of Monday Night Raw in a 3-hour just shit show that was negative after negative after negative after negative. So I loved it. Can't wait to see what Rollins does, but this is a legit rule, folks. So if you're thinking that's why was Rollins disqualified, what the fuck did he do like I was on Monday night? That's the reason. It's legit tag team wrestling, and Vince actually is abiding by the rules, but he's calling it his own rule, as if he made the rules for tag team wrestling. Probably did it as a way to fuck the revival. Oh, you're following my rule, I see, over in AEW. It's great. I created all of this, and you can suck my dick, says Vince McMahon. The next direction for Drew McIntyre on Monday Night Raw as WWE Champion, folks. Get your pillows ready. Get your NyQuil ready, or bleach, whichever you prefer, on ice. And get your sleep machines ready and your essential oils. I sleep with a essential oil machine going all night. Love it. With the sound of the ocean. I love it. Puts me to sleep like a baby, bro. Sometimes I can't sleep because this show keeps me up and gives me nightmares. But Bobby Lashley is being booked very strong right now. Great! I don't care. How could anyone care? WWE needs top stars, you don't say. And a few big ones have suddenly left for one reason or another. During the Observer Live, Dave Meltzer commented on WWE apparently going in the direction of Bobby Lashley for the WWE title. He says this, and I quote, "They really put Lashley over strong, and I got the impression from watching it that McIntyre and Lashley is perhaps the next pay-per-view match." Brian Alvarez interjected and said that they are absolutely going in that direction. Backlash is June 14th, so WWE is certainly building towards that event. We'll have to see how Drew McIntyre handles his second challenger in Bobby Lashley for the WWE title. Rollins lost to McIntyre at Money in the Bank in his first successful title defense. Summerslam is the company's next big pay-per-view on August 23rd. McIntyre rumored to take on, it's not really a rumor, I'm giving you the rumor right now because I know it's going to fucking happen. McIntyre versus Mahal for the WWE title. So the next direction is Bobby the Trash Man. Trashly, folks. He's not going to win and become the WWE champion. Okay? Setting that out there right now. If you don't believe me, I'm sorry. Reality's got to sink in at one point or another, bro. I'm sorry. I might have ruined your summer, and good. You'll be better off for it. Now, WWE is ruining my fucking beginning of the summer with this shit. I could not possibly give a single iota of a fucking shit about Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. I think Drew McIntyre has been fantastic. I think he's great. I think he deserves it. Can't wait to see what they do with him. So far, so good. And that's me speaking early, and now WWE seems to be tailing off on the title reign. Bobby Lashley isn't what I exactly think of when I think of challengers for Drew McIntyre. I'm going to repeat myself on what I said Monday night, because some of you might not have watched Monday night, but you watch here. Some of you might watch here and not watch Monday night, whatever. Now, Bobby Lashley has been treated like utter garbage. The guy has been in a wedding. He got paired with Lana. He was in a nothing storyline with Rusev. Then WWE turned it all lesbian with Liv Morgan. They dropped it. The guy has been treated like an utter joke. Bobby Lashley has been treated like a joke on WWE television for far too long. They have done nothing with him in a serious manner. They have done nothing to make him stand out as legit. You can give him all the squash matches you want against Humberto, poor little Humberto and Akira Tozawa, and he could squash Titus O'Neil for overbaking the green beans. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You could give this guy whoever you want. The fact of the matter is, this guy has been with the WWE since his initial return for 3 years now. And now, which I'm assuming is the tail end of his fucking contract, now you want to make him look strong. And now you want to give him a WWE Championship match. For what? For what? Because his contract is ending? And you don't want him to jump ship to an AEW or anywhere else when things get back on their feet and things go back to normal? Who is Bobby Lashley, and why would anyone care that Bobby Lashley is not on WWE programming? In fact, Bobby Lashley is one of those guys that ruins WWE programming. He makes it worse. He makes it worse. WWE dropped the ball on day one with Bobby Lashley. Ever since he stepped foot back on that stage on Raw, they dropped the ball. They didn't know what the fuck to do with him. They seen how over he was in Impact, and they simply brought him in to bury him just because he got over in Impact. You made a star and lasted longer with them than you did us. Now you're back here trying to reap the benefits of what you did over there? Bro, that's not how it operates. You either stay with us or you're against us. So he came back home expecting things, expecting a match with Brock Lesnar, expecting things to really work in his favor. Show WWE what he learned, how good he could be, how legit he could be with his MMA background. They didn't bring out any of that. They didn't do any of that. Now I'm supposed to care about Bobby Lashley in the last year of a fucking WWE contract and him getting a WWE title shot. Now I'm supposed to take him seriously as a legit threat, as an MMA killer, right? Are you serious? All the years that you wasted this guy, it's all coming back to haunt him and you and us. If you went the way of treating him like a legit guy for a long time leading up to this, then I would say this match makes sense. But you can feed him whoever you want. You're doing it out of sheer desperation because you have no clue as what to do for Drew McIntyre and his title reign. It's a situation where they bury a guy and then they want to make him look legit for a good 3, 4, 5, 6 week span. And then they want you to think that this guy is a legit contender for the World Championship. It doesn't work out that way. You can't book a guy for 6 weeks and then expect everybody to legitimately care about him when you buried him for 3 fucking years. I'm sorry, WWE. This reeks of fucking disaster. And I don't even know what's worse. We got Mahal and Lashley in the same reign? It's going to be a long summer, folks. I said it before I even knew any of this was going to happen. It's going to be a long summer for Drew McIntyre and us on Raw. Awful. The wild card rule is back. No matter how you swing it, the wild card rule is back. Now, I don't know if this is legit or not, but it's an exclusive. It's an exclusive from Sportskeeda. They wouldn't put exclusive in the title if it wasn't legit. Otherwise, it's clickbait. USA Network, Fox, and WWE in a major disagreement over the wild card rule. Now, the wild card rule was never the most popular at all. It was absolutely something that killed WWE programming. But they said that they have learned that the networks aren't completely convinced that this is going to work. USA, Fox, and WWE's early feelings on the new wild card rule. You know, there is major disagreements already before we even get to stage one of this wild card rule. On Monday's Raw, it was announced that, by Drew McIntyre, by the way, it was announced that the WWE would have a return of a minor form of a wild card rule. It's not as in-depth as it was last year, but it's still a wild card rule no matter how you look at it, no matter how you break it down. WWE is doing it out of sheer desperation because they are physically, creatively unable to write good television. And they need to rely on using other shows' top stars on a SmackDown and a Raw, vice versa, trading top stars because they don't want to push undercard talent. They don't want to put the work into getting that undercard talent over. They don't want to write for that undercard talent. And it's a shame that I'm sitting here telling you the reality of the situation. It's not going to happen. They don't want to create new stars at all. The original incarnation of the wild card rule was vastly unpopular. Wrestling fans felt they were seeing the same faces every week. Big names in the industry had another date added to their schedule, often in a very different location, and lesser utilized talent were essentially swept under the rug and completely forgotten about. Right there. Everything that I just mentioned in the open of this show. July 30th, Sportskeeda reported that the wild card rule would be quietly wrapping up, ensuring definitive brands in time for the Survivor Series pay-per-view. That was last year. While a formal announcement never came on Raw, the WWE Champion Drew McIntyre did make a reference to a brand versus brand invitational. The champion would invite Baron Corbin, of all fucking people, to show up on Raw, coming over from SmackDown, for a match that will be featured in the main event of Raw next week, which is taped, by the way. Additionally, Charlotte Flair, whose brand right now is the subject of debate because she's the NXT Women's Champion. You know, she's showing up on Raw, and she's getting battery changes over there. She's showing up on NXT, getting oil changes down there. She's showing up on SmackDown. She's probably getting a fine-tuning with a loose bolt somewhere on Friday night. I don't know what's going on with Charlotte Flair. She needs to pick one brand, and they need to pick one brand for her because seeing her on three brands is absolutely fucking disgusting. Was announced for an appearance on SmackDown. Now, it's 5 o'clock on Friday night. I haven't even seen SmackDown yet. You guys are going to be seeing this, so she was on SmackDown last night. I don't know what they did, nor do I care. When Charlotte's on the TV, I pay as little attention as possible to anything that's going on. At the current rate, we are not aware of any invitation that has been sent to Charlotte Flair. Now, the wildcard rule officially ended in October of 2019. Sportskeeda says they can exclusively report that this current incarnation of the wildcard rule is subject to strenuous debate between the USA Network and Fox Network and the WWE itself. The USA Network have been quietly encouraging a return of the wildcard rule since it was wrapped up. That goes to show you that the people working at the USA Network don't know a single fucking thing about professional wrestling or WWE in general. They want a return of the wild card rule. Do they not know that it absolutely killed the entire brand split concept? Do they not know that SmackDown is on a different network? Do they not know that SmackDown is not on the USA Network like it was when it was on Tuesday nights? The fuck is wrong with these people? I don't get it. So the USA Network has quietly been encouraging a return of the wild card rule I don't even, again, I have to sit here and contemplate how stupid this is. Who could they possibly want on SmackDown that they want on Raw that they think would be a ratings draw? SmackDown is just getting as bad of a rating as Monday Night Raw every single week. So who exactly do you think on SmackDown is going to be a draw for Raw? Why don't you let them suffer in their own mediocrity? While you have a much better roster than SmackDown, and WWE refuses to do anything about building new stars and making someone on that show a household fucking name. I mean, I could end the discussion and the conversation right there. Right there. The numbers speak volumes. SmackDown has a miserable roster. So I don't know who you would be looking at over there to bring over Monday Night Raw that Monday Night Raw doesn't have. That they don't have. Additionally, certain network executives are unhappy. I gotta take another cold beverage here, man. Hold on a second. Yes, it's only water. If I drank during this show, oh my goodness, man, you would not even be able to handle me. Listen to this. Additionally, certain network executives, I don't know who these people are, they should be certainly fucking terminated, are unhappy with the limited use of the 24/7 title that they themselves helmed the creation of, now that it is both single-branded and in the possession of someone who is not on TV and could possibly not be making a return at all. Now, I would like to think, seriously, I would like to think that WWE said, fuck the 24/7 title. They knew they didn't want the title on TV, and they gave it to Rob Gronkowski, knowing that he wasn't going to come back to TV as a way to kill off the fucking title. Because they knew that WWE 24/7 title was fucking worthless. They knew that USA Network's idea of a 24/7 title looked ridiculous. I would hope that's the case. Do I think that's the case? No. Because WWE, they were all aboard with this title. Maybe they got sick of it. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But I want to think that they gave it to Rob Gronkowski to get it off of TV because they themselves didn't want the title. But USA Network wants the 24/7 title back. It is a concept that is dead in the water. Nobody wants it. You know, here's the thing, USA Network. Why don't you go about telling WWE to make the shows on Monday a little bit more seriousness, or a little bit more serious, with a little bit more seriousness to them. A little bit more legit, a little bit more real, a little bit more of adult-orientated on Monday night. Who wants to watch the 24/7? Who wants to watch legitimate pro wrestlers run around an empty fucking performance center chasing a title that is as worthless as this LED light strip controller that is on my fucking gaming monitor right now? I don't get it. I really don't understand the logic between them wanting the 24/7 title back on TV and what difference it's going to make if it's there or not. It embarrasses the company. People are not interested in seeing top-tier talent run around chasing a fucking title. Do you guys remember that chasing the title around ended Ember Moon's run on Raw? She's now sitting at home recovering from a fucking Achilles injury that could potentially take her up to 18 months to recover from. Yet you want to bring the fucking title back and have people chase around the fucking title like they're in a scene in Tommy Boy. Are you fucking serious? USA Network, man, what a letdown. You know, I don't give a shit how many years WWE's been doing business with these people. These people are absolutely the dumbest fucks I think I could possibly ever conceive of. Ridiculous. It embarrassed everybody. Jinder Mahal chased the 24/7 title. Now WWE wants me to believe he's in line for a WWE title shot. Why? You don't think I forgot him sitting in a fucking luggage crate waiting for R-Truth? Trying to pin him while everyone was sleeping on a flight to Saudi Arabia? No, I'm supposed to forget that though, right? And you want the title back on TV. What about, here's the thing, USA, you got a US title on Raw, which is buried. It sucks. There's no value or prestige in it. How about you tell WWE to build up the prestige of the U.S. title, being that you got some of the most talented fucking guys in the world working on that brand in the mid-card? Members of the Fox team, while eager to see further drafts in the future, are apparently disappointed with the return of the wildcard rule, given that SmackDown ratings are yet to see a major hit during the current... they have yet to see a major hit. They went from a fucking 3 to a 1.9 major hit. What the fuck you talking about, major? That's a major hit. You go from a 4 all the way down to a 1.9 on Friday night. That's not a major hit to you people? Boy, you must be looking like the dumbest bunch of fucking idiots in the industry spending $1 billion on this heaping pile of garbage. They're disappointed with the return of the wildcard rule that SmackDown ratings are yet to see a major hit during the current pandemic situation. There are concerns over the advertising that a wildcard rule gives the USA Network, particularly given that Fox were known to be unhappy with their final roster immediately after the draft took place in October. This was one of the reasons for Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross moving over for the removal of Eric Bischoff in his executive director role. For their part, the WWE are confident that this reintroduction of the wildcard rule will stabilize ratings. Initial plans for a shakeup post-WrestleMania were shelved due to the CV-19, and while a number of planned NXT moves still took place, WWE creative are looking for new names and faces to keep storylines fresh and more open to variables for more cinematic matches in the future. This is an absolute mess if I ever seen one, bro. I really don't understand how you could go back and look at the failure that was that wildcard rule last year and think that something happening this year is going to have any different of a result. I really don't get it. What did you do? Number one, the first thing off the top of my head is it made the championships that much more less prestigious. Seriously, you didn't set up contenders in your own division, on your own show for those titles. Anybody could come over and challenge for a fucking Intercontinental Championship coming over from the other brand because they're a top-level guy, right? World champion versus world champion happened more times than I would like to remember during these wildcard rule shows. It was absolutely disgusting. The titles took a huge hit for the wildcard rule. Titles meant nothing. You had guys like Reigns and Charlotte and bigger names like Styles and Kofi Kingston at the time and Daniel Bryan and The New Day jump ship every week. You'd see one guy on Raw, and then that Raw superstar would show up on SmackDown. Then that same guy would show up on Raw, and then that same guy would show up on SmackDown, rinse and repeat. That same guy on SmackDown would show up on Raw the next week, and then show up on SmackDown, rinse and repeat. It became a situation where the exposure for these guys was becoming too much. You go from seeing one guy one time a week to seeing these guys multiple times a week and stuff that doesn't even matter. It doesn't further storylines. It's not exciting because you're giving dream matches away for free. Whereas when you do have a draft and those guys end up on the same show, what's going to happen? I'm going to sit here and tell you I already saw the match when it meant nothing. All because of a wild card rule to get ratings on Raw where they should be. And being that it meant nothing then, now it means even less now because I've already seen it. Nobody operates that way. Nobody thinks that way. But I do. I do. Overwhelming. Seeing these guys week in and week out. Matches being ruined. On top of that, the Survivor Series was built on brand versus brand supremacy. The only time of the year where Raw versus SmackDown go head to head. Really? I sat through 4 months of a wild card rule. So clearly, you're a fucking idiot, if that's the case. That's why they added NXT to the Survivor Series this year. Not only because of the AEW effect, which was absolutely the case, because they won the ratings that week in the build to Survivor Series, but it was a way because of the wild card rule ruining the Survivor Series. They couldn't do a champion versus champion match anymore. So they had to go and book Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio. They had to go and book NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown in ridiculous 5-on-5-on-5 matches. This is WWE's idea. All because, and that was because of the wild card rule. Is NXT going to be part of the Survivor Series this year? Probably not. I hope not. Now, granted, Survivor Series was one of the better pay-per-views of the year. It still looked like a convoluted mess, and they did it for the wrong reasons. You could have added NXT the year before, the year before, the year before, the year before that. Now you want to add NXT because of the AEW effect and to erase what you did with the wild card rule? Nothing has meaning on these shows as it is. WWE bringing Baron Corbin and someone that we fucking shit on every single week. Baron Corbin's going to be on Monday. I don't want to see Baron Corbin on Friday. Now I got to see him on Monday and then on Friday again because he's in the tournament. I don't believe how nobody is here in the community speaking up about this shit. But WWE's doing it for ratings. They think this is going to help the ratings. How is Baron Corbin going to help the ratings? Drew McIntyre can't even help the ratings. He's the champion. WWE. And then USA is wondering where the stars are. Where the big stars are. They're right in front of your fucking face. They're right underneath your nose. WWE ain't doing anything with them. So of course they're not going to look like stars to you. This is the model that WWE is comfortable with. This is the model that they settled into. Bury, push who they want, give the top spot to who they want, rinse and repeat over and over again. Pull an NXT talent from here, put them on the main roster, do nothing with them. Why does NXT even exist? You build them up in that to get them ready for the future. Andrade, failure. Garza, failure. Humberto, failure. Theory, on his way to being a failure. Aleister Black, failure. Ricochet, failure. The War Raiders, failure. The list goes on and on. I'm missing EC3, Bobby Roode. You name it. You name it. WWE doesn't take somebody like they're special. They should take like they get somebody from NXT and they treat them like, oh my God, I got this new talent. Let's do something with them. If I got a new talent on Monday Night Raw from NXT and I've been watching this guy blossom for 2-3 years or her blossom for 2-3 years, I'm going to take them and I'm going to be like, yes, I can't wait to get this person involved on the show and build and create and get them to a place where they are the top superstar of their division, of their show. You know? That doesn't happen. There's no excitement around anybody coming up. There's no excitement around anybody. Everybody is settled into the same fucking boat. Ricochet should be a world champion or on his way to being a world champion. This guy was one of the best wrestlers on the fucking planet. And now he's wearing Alexa Bliss boy shorts in a tag team with Cedric Alexander, and USA Network is wondering where the superstars are. Go back and watch his ladder match at TakeOver in that inaugural North American Championship match and tell me he's not a fucking superstar. Watch this match with Johnny Gargano and tell me he's not a superstar. Watch this match with the Velveteen Dream and tell me he's not a fucking superstar. Watch this match with Aleister Black against the War Raiders at TakeOver New York and tell me he's not a superstar. Where is Ricochet? Why do we take guys like that and put them on Monday Night Raw and then have USA Network X, where are the superstars? Yeah, WWE, where are the superstars? Oh, that's right, we buried them. Because nobody else could be a superstar under our watch. Otherwise, they're going to go to Hollywood. Otherwise, they're going to go do this. Otherwise, they're going to do Netflix and Hulu and all this other shit. And they're going to abandon us and say, fuck WWE. And they're going to go on to be a bigger superstar away from us after we gave them the platform to do so. The wild card rule sucks. There's no need for a fucking draft now. There's no need for a shakeup now. When I got Baron Corbin just wandering on Raw for no reason. When I got Nakamura and Cesaro showing up on Raw for no reason. Why? What is the need for a draft when there are fans in the arena again? What is the reason for a shakeup when that time comes? None. It all goes out the window when you have this. And when you move those guys to a brand like Drew McIntyre is on, if Corbin gets drafted to Raw and challenges for the WWE title, what makes you think I'm going to care about seeing it then when he's on the same show? Because I got it now and it meant nothing. Absolutely nothing. This is a complete failure waiting to happen. And I pray to God this blows up in their face. I really do. I can't stand the fucking stupidity that WWE is undertaking with this wild card rule. All you had to do was go to the networks. Hey, guys, we want to merge the women's division and make it one. Hey, guys, we want to merge the tag team divisions and make them one. We got all these great tag teams that could be on Raw, on SmackDown. We can have all these great women on Raw and on SmackDown work and float between both shows. Same thing with the tag team. And keep the top-tier guys, the mid-level guys, and the top-tier guys dedicated to their brand so everybody's happy. But you guys can get a different piece of the pie with the women and the tag team. Everything would have been good. Everything would have been good. You lessen the amount of championships on the show. You make one dedicated championship for both divisions. The titles automatically mean something and have more value than they have now. You got women on Raw working SmackDown. You got women on SmackDown working Raw. Same thing with the tag teams. Everybody lives in peace and harmony. Yet you got your Drew McIntyre's dedicated to Raw. And you got your Daniel Bryan's dedicated to SmackDown. And then that's where the draft comes in. And then you could take from NXT and the NXT pool and an NXT guy here and an NXT guy there, or an NXT woman here and an NXT woman there, or a tag team, so on and so forth. Even if you want to take a woman in the roster or on the roster now and bring them back down to NXT as far as a trade. I piss myself off talking about all this. I really do. Because I know it's never going to happen. I know I have the right idea. I've been preaching it for 5 fucking years now. I know. This ain't it. This ain't it. I swear on my grandfather's tomb, I hope Raw gets the worst rating in the history of the show on Monday. Anything else above what they got last week is going to show Vince McMahon, hey, it worked. It might work for the first week. It might somewhat work for the second week. I give this 3 weeks to fail. Even they're not even starting it off the right way. I mean, if you want to get me to watch the fucking show, you might be doing, you should be doing Daniel Bryan versus Drew McIntyre, not fucking Baron Corbin versus Drew McIntyre. I hope it fails. I really, really, really hope it fails. WWE's moving on Raw with a brand new stable. MVP, team with Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne against R-Truth, Cedric Alexander, and Ricochet. MVP's team lost when he was pinned by R-Truth. After the match, Bobby Lashley attacked Truth, and he and MVP decided that they would talk backstage. Earlier, MVP spoke with Lashley about getting his confidence back and setting his sights on winning a major championship on Raw, which is something he hasn't done since his first run over a decade ago. Based on this, it looks like Lashley will be challenging for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship in the near future, with MVP as his manager. It remains to be seen who else will join the stable, but it is being reported that Apollo Crews is planned to turn heel, which we talked about, and I don't really mind that. It gives him something new. It gives him some direction. It changes him up after being stale for 5 years. And the fact that WWE is actually going to the lengths and putting in the effort to turn him heel and give him a new character twist means that they actually want to do something with him and they want to feature him. So good for him. But the stable, WWE failed with Zelina's guys. They're going to do good by these guys? Give me a break. WWE doesn't know how to do stables unless you're Rollins, Ambrose, and The Shield. And they even fucked all of that up towards the end of their run as well. Nobody gives a shit about a stable led by MVP because nobody gives a shit about Raw. Nobody gives a shit about Raw. Who is on that show that legitimately could feud with them and make it interesting? It is another worthless segment on Monday night. That's all it is. Vince Russo, bro, talks about the empty arena shows, bro. How WWE is booking Drew McIntyre, bro. So we got Vince Russo chatting with AfterBuzz TV and Jack Farmer on AfterBuzz. This is what he says in regards to Drew McIntyre and how he's being written. And I quote, I'm watching Drew McIntyre this week, bro. You do an after show, bro. I love Drew. I've had Drew on my show, bro. I'm a big Drew McIntyre fan, bro. When I'm sitting here, bro, watching Drew cut that promo, bro, I'm watching it, and I'm like, bro, he doesn't know who he is. He's trying to be funny. He's trying to be serious. It's not coming off as genuine, bro. So that's telling me, bro, the writer has not tapped into Drew McIntyre and who Drew McIntyre is, bro. And that promo, bro, he's coming across very non-sincere, bro. And it's hurting his character, bro. He also talked about how WWE and AEW are handling the empty arena shows. He says this, and I quote, bro, the biggest flaw, bro, is them not dealing with the issue at hand, bro. That's the biggest flaw, bro. The show should be about, the wrestling companies, people, human beings, bro, that they are trying to deal with the virus like everybody else, bro. They should be the backdrop of the shows, bro. The fact that they're trying to put on these shows, bro, and we are supposed to ignore what's going on around us, bro, it just shows you, bro, just how, bro, ingrained, bro, they are in the wrestling bubble, bro. End quote. So there is Vince Russo's take on the empty arena shows. And I wanted to throw that in there because WWE does them absolutely terrible. 205 Live, where is it? Do you care? More than likely not. PW Insider is now reporting that during the tapings at the Performance Center this week, 2 episodes of 205 Live have been taped. The episodes are slated to about 30 minutes each and will presumably feature Jeremy Borash on commentary, which seemed to be confirmed as his new role last Friday. 8 cruiserweights have been in the action as a part of the interim cruiserweight tournament on NXT while Jordan Devlin can't travel. So if you guys want to go see Jeremy Borash, there you go. 205 Live is the place to be. Just cancel it. Does anybody watch it? I don't know. Just move the entire division to NXT. What is the need for 205 Live? Really? Get rid of it. AEW beats NXT in the ratings despite a New Year low rating. So AEW Dynamite on TNT had its lowest viewership ever and the lowest rating in the 18 to 49 key demographic. The show averaged 654,000 viewers, down from 10.7%. And Dynamite finished 15th in the 18 to 49 demo with a 2.3 rating, down 17.9% from last week. NXT on the USA Network averaged 604,000 viewers, down 8.9% from last week in the 18 to 49. The show averaged a 0.15 rating, down 16.7% from the previous week, and that matches NXT's series low. The show finished 46th in the cable TV rankings in that demo that night. AEW won every demo except people over 50, the old heads, where they go to bed at 8 o'clock before the show starts, but apparently not on Wednesday. Normally, they're watching the show. NXT had an advantage of 0.32 to 0.26. The strongest demo for AEW was men 18 to 49, where the show averaged a 0.28 rating to NXT's 0.18. The combined audience is 1.258 million viewers. That is the lowest combined since both shows debuted in October. It's not even a war anymore, folks. Nobody gives a shit about the ratings, especially now with the empty arena shows. Nobody gives a shit. And all I will say is both shows were down, but I believe there was UFC on ESPN Plus that kind of took people's attention away from what was going on. So I think that had something to do with it because AEW is in the middle of a pay-per-view. Why are they down? I don't understand it. Obviously, something took their attention away. They were up to 760,000 the week before, and now they're down to 654. Lost almost 100,000 viewers between last week and this week. So it's either that or everybody is just waiting for the pay-per-view. Like, you got the gist of what's happening at the pay-per-view. There really isn't much that you could sell me on with the pay-per-view. I'm all in already. I'm going double or nothing. So maybe people just said, you know what? I got it. I know what's happening. I'll see you on Saturday night. I don't know. And NXT was boring to me. Some standouts there. Karrion Kross in his promo was great. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae are killing it. Loving what they're doing. And it's pretty much it. I'm there for Dexter Lumis. Where's my boy Dexter Lumis? Balor and Damian Priest. That's going on. The In Your House stuff, we talked about it on the NXT review with Ticket Drew, so make sure you guys go and check that out. Link is down below in the description. And finally, guys, before I get out of here, because I'm sweating bullets over here, Rollins, speaking of Karrion Kross, says the ceiling is high for one Karrion Kross. Their entrance received high praise amongst fans. Kross, a former Impact Wrestling talent, squashed Leon Ruff from Evolve in a short match in his debut. It was reported after the match that WWE officials have high hopes for Kross. Rollins recently did an interview with Planeta Wrestling where he was asked about the NXT talent in Karrion Kross. According to Rollins, he thinks that Kross has a high ceiling in WWE. I've known Scarlett, he says, for a very long time. Karrion is someone that I'm slowly starting to become familiar with. Scarlett is from Chicago. She came up in the Chicago Indies. I was there before she was even training to be a wrestler. I remember she was this annoying little girl that wouldn't go away at these shows in Chicago. Now, to see what she's turned into, it's awesome, man. It's really inspiring to see someone who maybe I didn't see so much potential in to begin with get to this point in her career. She made it to the big time. I think Karrion's got all the potential in the world. Obviously, their entrance on May 6th was something to behold. I'm looking forward to seeing what becomes of that. You only get one shot to make that first impression, and they did it with flying colors, so we'll see what happens. I look forward to it. And that's what he says about Karrion Kross. Like I said, man, and I discussed this with Ticket Drew 2 weeks in a row now. Incredibly high on Karrion Kross. I think fans and WWE alike are high on Karrion Kross. The entrance was great. Scarlett is clearly the star of the show there, but I take nothing away from him. He's a great promo. He's got a great look. I love the entrance. And I mentioned, and I joked around, and I'm serious when I say this, if Vince sees him and what the package is with both of them, they'll be on the main roster before the end of the year. There's no way Vince is going to look at that and say, well, why isn't this guy on my show? I'm looking for top guys. This is it right here. The fuck are you doing down there? Got to give Triple H a little bit more credit, man. But at the end of the day, he creates and Vince kills, more likely than not. Will he kill Karrion Kross? With what we've seen, there's no way that Karrion Kross is going to have a failure of a WWE run. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm glad to see that he's being immediately thrusted into a feud with Tommaso Ciampa. There's no better guy to do that with on match number one, your big match number one at that In Your House pay-per-view, which I loved. They brought back awesome stuff there. In Your House has a very special place in my heart for all of those pay-per-views. No matter how bad they were, still holds a very special place in my heart. I love the set. Some of the best matches in WWE history came from those In Your House shows. You know, Bad Blood, the Hell in a Cell match, first ever, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, Hakushi and Bret Hart, Canadian Stampede, Bret and the Bulldog. We got Mankind versus Shawn Michaels for the WWF Championship. Good Friends, Better Enemies with Shawn Michaels and Diesel before Diesel went to WCW as Kevin Nash. Some great shit there, man. So, will NXT live up to the hype and live up to the nostalgia that we all love about In Your House? If Triple H is in charge, I think they'll do very well by the name and the concept. And obviously, it's a takeover, so I take nothing away from Triple H there. It's always some of the best shows of the entire year. Guys, I am getting out of here. Thank you so very much for all of your supports on this podcast. If you did enjoy it, please hit that thumbs up. Make sure you guys check out all the other content linked down below in the description. Raw, Dynamite, NXT, yesterday's Off the Script, SmackDown. All you need is linked down below. Make sure you check out my sponsor, Keeps.com. Obviously, link will be down in the description and the comment section. Go and check them out. Show them some support as well. I appreciate that. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JDfromNY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up as well. Turn on the bell for all notifications. And Patreon, patreon.com/JDfromNY206. Guys, I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you for another great episode of OTS 326, and I'll see you right back here for a brand new week, Double or Nothing week, starting with Monday Night Raw on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend, and I'll see you right back here on the podcast for Monday Night Raw. See you later.